welcome to Tuesday night Spokane Soul Center's Recovery Dharma. My name is Josh, and I will be facilitating the meditation tonight. Before we get going with the meditation, I just wanted to speak a little bit that on our topic. Here at Recovery Dharma Spokane, we do a monthly topic that's introduced by Julia. And this month, she kind of went off track from the straight Buddhist path of topics to um, four aspects of habit energy. Habit energy is the term that we use to refer to um, addictive behavior, substance use disorder, um, to describe the pattern of thoughts and actions and behaviors that we engage in when we're in active addiction and when we're in recovery from addiction. Um, the four aspects that she brought forward are not in any way, shape, or form all the aspects of people experiencing addiction, but these four are some pretty universal um, things that people go through. The first one that we talked about earlier in the month was the difficulty accepting responsibility, and I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Uh, then we followed that with the aspect of the comfort that people in addiction have with secrets and lying. And then last week, we discussed immediate gratification. And now this week, we are discussing difficulty with self-regulation. Um, Self-regulation, it ties into all the other aspects that we've talked about this month. And self-regulation in the framework of habit energy is how we respond to our thoughts and our emotions, either with actions or with other thoughts and emotions that can then carry us down a path to different different behaviors and different actions. Um, for myself, I have spent a majority of my life being a reactive person, and that has served me well in some aspects and served me very poorly in others. When I was in very active addiction in my younger life, um, I thoughtlessly gave in to every craving I could eagerly. And then that that paved the way for a pretty um, robust substance use disorder that I've been dealing with for a long time, for decades of in and out of recovery with various successes and failures. Um, and when I was in recovery, uh, I I practiced abstinence for a long time, but I did not self-regulate well. For myself, that really manifested in a lot of thoughts and emotions of it, and I would categorize as negative thoughts and emotions. I was very quick to anger and self-pity, which led to resentment. And the beauty of all those negative thoughts and emotions for me was that I could hop on board those and ride them into picking up again. Um, and then, so that that self-regulation, it went from in my youth where if I wanted alcohol or drugs, I would get alcohol or drugs that day. Later in life, when I was attempting recovery, I would resist the urge to pick up, but I would cling tightly to those negative feelings that came with those cravings. And I would ride those. It was a much longer process. It was a low and slow. cooking process that um, inevitably took me down the same path. Um, and it certainly involved the other three aspects that we talked about or this month, difficulty accepting responsibility, uh, living a secret life, lying all the time, and um, the immediate gratification, while it might have been delayed, uh, it was definitely the goal. Um, and when I found Recovery Dharma, it has the approach to recovery with Recovery Dharma for me has been really successful one. And it's a very holistic approach from what I've learned here about like, it's not just about abstinence. Um, this practice has helped me to recognize that the habit energy, it's so much more than just the act of getting and using a certain substance. Um, it is, it's a spiritual condition. And while I did learn some of this in the 12-step program, this approach has really worked successfully for me to recognize these cravings and desires as a very human condition. Um, it's something that's it's not something that's wrong with me to have cravings and desires. That's just what we do. Um, but I've gotten tools that help me to recognize that. And it's really taught me that this recovery, it's so much more than just the abstinence. It is a new way of thinking and behaving that for me really has not only made my recovery a success in the sense of staying sober, but it's also expanded outward in my life in a way that has made everything just easier. Easier on me, easier on the people that I love, people around me. Um, and while I still experience cravings and, desires, and I have negative thoughts and feelings, I feel like I am much more capable now with the tools I've gotten from this practice to see them coming in a way that rather than them grabbing me by the collar and dragging me down, I see them coming, say hello, send them on their way. And so, uh, for that, I continue to be grateful every single day that I found this practice, and in particular, this Sangha that's just continues to teach me. Um, and I hope that I contribute a tenth of what I get. So, with that, I'd like to take us on a little guided meditation, if you will. So, I will. Welcome, everybody. Let's take this time together to sit in stillness, breathing with awareness and reflecting on the power that we have to regulate our thoughts and our actions. In times of active addiction, our minds may have felt like storms, chaotic, overwhelming, and difficult to control. In recovery, we learn that the mind can be calmed, our actions can be chosen, and our lives can be guided with clarity and compassion. As we begin, remember, nothing needs to be forced. Just allow yourself to arrive here, in this moment, exactly as you are. If it's available to you, sit or lay down in a way that feels comfortable yet alert. Gently close your eyes or let your gaze rest softly in front of you. Bring attention to your breath. Notice the gentle rise and fall of your chest. The air flowing in and out through your nose or your mouth. Let's take 3 deep breaths together, breathing in deeply, holding for a moment, and then releasing slowly. Now let your breath return to its natural rhythm. With each exhale, feel tension leaving your body. As you breathe, simply observe your breath. There's no need to change it. Just watch yourself breathe. Now, bring attention to your mind. Notice that thoughts arise, sometimes many at once. When we're in active addiction, these thoughts may feel overwhelming, driving us toward old patterns and harmful actions. Here, in this safe space, we simply observe these thoughts. When a thought arises, label it gently. It's a thought. You don't need to judge it. You don't need to fight it. You don't need to follow it. Imagine these thoughts as clouds drifting across the sky. They come and they go. Some are dark and heavy. Some bring rain. Some bring lightning and thunder. Some are light and soft, wispy clouds blowing across the sky. With all these clouds in the sky, though, remember, none of them define the sky. As we sit in our recovery, we practice remembering that a thought is only a thought. It does not command our actions. Notice how your thoughts can lead to urges and how your urges can lead to actions. When we're actively engaged in habit energy, that space between the thought and the action feels very small, almost automatic. But here and now, we can practice widening that space. With mindfulness and awareness, we can pause between the thought and our action. As you take a breath in and a breath out, visualize a thought and imagine a small gap opening between that thought and how you choose to act on it. That gap between the thought and the act is freedom from habit energy. It's that gap, that pause, that is your power of self-regulation. If a craving thought arises, you may pause and breathe. Say to yourself, this is only a thought. I do not have to act on it. This practice, this training of the mind, allows us to see clearly, to take that pause, and to choose wise action. Sometimes we may judge ourselves harshly for the actions of the past. We may feel guilt or shame for not having been able to regulate our behavior. If it's available to you and you wish to do it, place your hands on your heart, breathe gently, and whisper inwardly, I forgive myself for what I could not see then. Good or bad, all of these experiences are part of my journey. Now I am learning how to self-regulate. Each breath you take now is an act of compassion toward yourself. Each moment of awareness is a step on the path of recovery. This practice teaches us that mindfulness brings freedom. It's this present moment awareness. By being present, you're no longer a prisoner of the past. You're no longer a slave to your cravings. You're awake, aware, and you are capable of choosing your actions. Take a few breaths again, noticing how it feels to sit with awareness, noticing thoughts and actions without being swept away by them. Remember, regulating the mind is a practice. It is not going to be perfect. Some days it feels natural, other days it feels impossible. But each moment of awareness is progress. As we approach the end of this meditation, may we carry this practice into our everyday lives. May we notice our thoughts without judgment. May we pause before we act. And may we choose actions that bring healing rather than harm. Namaste. All right, everybody. Tonight we talked about self-regulation as a practice, and I just wanted to reiterate the word practice. None of us are going to get this perfect. Um, that's half of the fun, isn't it? I'd like to offer this dedication of merit. May any goodness, clarity, and strength gained from this practice be shared with all beings. May the wisdom of pausing between thought and action help us to live with greater freedom, compassion, and peace. May those still caught in cycles of craving and suffering find release, and may we all discover the strength to choose healing over harm. Namaste. Good night, everybody.